we're back with Richard Reviews. Today we are reviewing a book for richardreviews.com/Griffin Chestnut here on YouTube, and that book is titled The End of Everything, Astrophysically Speaking, and this is by Mack. This is one of Richard's most favorite pieces that he was able to obtain through online purchases after his YouTube subscriptions and his counter-offer boxes with the revenue fell below 15 or 56%. That is much like before, how we're able to discuss the different problems and despairs that as a whole you can really formulate and put into great words. Mack does a terrific job, and if you do agree, then make sure to hit the bell icon. The bell icon is here, and it's based on a fallout from a representation. All in all, Richard gives this piece thumbs up, 2 thumbs up as a whole. It is a generic piece of spontaneity of a mathematical persuasion of different dialects. And you can switch up the format and answer some of the great feedback that you receive through these different dilemmas, which is exactly what you're doing in the comment section down below. Richard is a member of the Simon & Schuster Foundation, where he was able to obtain a lot of the information that he enjoyed after reading this edition. This piece was part of a gift survey that Richard was able to win an award for the prestigious blog piece. Richard started his blog in 2014, and it's been, no pun intended, astrophysically growing ever since. Whether or not he does collaborate with Joseph R. Evans with his book reviews, he does a formula spot that he's able to concur, and you really don't taste the difference between the two spectacles, but between Brave New World, Aldous Huxley, George Orwell's 1984, there is definitely a different review between the two of them, and that could come through a later acknowledgement by different federal authors that Richard is able to abstain the positive constipate. This is due to his dialectic nature and his Irish background. Richard was born in New York, but he does have an Irish background of the condominium descent. He's also part Australian, part Southern African, and he's got Canadian roots inside of his bed springs. These are part of his dialectic Danaroos, where he's able to report everything from stir-fried chicken to the colossal bedridden kaleidoscope that is neither here or here, and it can be found on different circumstances. This is a great review for this piece. This is a Richard piece. We're going to talk about the dimensions and the clotticism. You're going to talk about the taste, the certain cream that you get with this piece right here. But first things first, you can get a little tongue-tied going over something like this because of the nature of it. And that's because when you get into something like this, that's kind of ironic and a little introductory, you can get you can end up holding yourself back through to the major standpoint of what is substantial. There's something released about this, and this never happens, but it's one of those new releases that, it's one of those places, it's a pretty rare occasion that Richard gets quite excited about, and it's definitely something to write home about. There's a notion that Ken Kinsley wrote about after he created the bus titled Further, which carried along Neil Cassidy, of course, from Jack Kerouac and the Beat Generation. And Ken Kingsley is pretty much the one in question after his book, A Great Notion, which is revived in later on left and right and up and down and side to side and side to side. So we are blessed with this piece. Let's take a look at this piece right here. It is a hardcover, so there is no bend. It does have good cream. You can tell on the cover that this was a Curiosity Box official selection. So Richard is a member of a lot of online groups, one of them being, of course, he subscribed to the Vsauce collective edition, where he gets paid subscriptions of premium products that are hand delivered to his email with promotional items such as toothpicks, toothbrushes, and anything in the way of a bar soap. Richard is subscribed to over 37 online subscriptions, and he's fortunate enough to do this through his premium membership pass, which he gained in 2014. So that's realistically speaking. But as the piece on its own, we're going to take a look at this piece. It's a hardcover piece. It's in great condition. The cream is nice on the side. The cream is nice on the side, and the cream is nice on the side. On this side, we have more imagery, the end of everything, Katie Mack, and a dialectic point of view. And of course on the back, we have some more praise for it. Not much of a rhythm standard, but it is more praise nonetheless. We do have a small price in the print down here. And as you can see, it is priced at a whopping $26 US, which is very high in Richard standards. And for Canadian, it's priced at 35 Canadian, which is also very high for a piece of this caliber. That's a very high price. But we're going to get into it right now. Since it is hardcover, here's a copy of the price as well. This is another edition. So US is 26 and Canadian is 35. So inside, of course, this is what the piece looks like without it, and you can see the gold trim on the brim wall. So it comes with a cover flap, and it's very engraved in that. So you have the end of everything by Katie Mack, and hopefully, once you get into something like this, you know there's going to be a Fiesta strips. There's going to be a little extra cheese here and there, and the cheese comes with the price that you pay. Katie Mack is not only a extremely well-deserved scientist, but she brings along a little extra cheese for the better price, and that's why this piece is so expensive, because you're getting a little extra cheese when you go into it. Towards the end, in the table of contents, you can see right here, there is a Q&A with Mrs. Katie Mack on the last page of the book. Now, this piece talks a lot about particle colliders, the distance between relativity, quantum mechanics, and everything else under the sun. Now, the end of everything not only just gives a lot of different scenarios that ultimately could happen, that be at the end of the Earth, the end of the universe, and everything else in between. Thankfully, we're blessed with this imagery and more illustrations based on the certain paradox that gives us our substantial point of view. As for the author herself, there is a picture of Dr. Katie Mack, and there she is. She's looking at the photographer. Looks a little disappointed, but she is currently an assistant professor of physics at North Carolina State University, where she is also a member of public speaking, which you can tell she's very good. It also says right here she's a communist, so take that with what you will. We don't really talk about too much politics here on Richard Reviews. Richard is very politically involved, but he understands the comparison that can be made with himself being called a bigot. So that's it for Richard Reviews. There's 2 thumbs up for The End of Everything by Katie Mack. This is a Richard exclusive review, and we will see you next time.